Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Kate Hamilton Health Podcast. I am your host Kate Hamilton, and this week we are going to dive into the topic of rest and recovery. So most people think that when it comes to hitting their goals, like their fitness goals, their weight loss goals, that they need to be going all the time. So that is just not true. The truth is, your rest and recovery is not only as important, it's actually more important than your training. And the reason is that I have lots of reasons, which I will get into now in a minute. But before we do that, I just want you to visualize your lifestyle as a pyramid, okay? So at the very bottom, the base of the pyramid, the foundations of your healthy lifestyle has to be your rest and recovery. Again, I'll be going through exactly what rest and recovery should be throughout this episode. But for now, just think about this pyramid, rest and recovery at the bottom of that pyramid. Then sitting on top of that, we have nutrition. So good nutrition being the next most important thing. On top of that, we have our non-exercise activity thermogenesis, our NEAT. So our everyday movement. So getting our walks in, our steps, and just general movement throughout the day. On top of that then is our training. And then on top of our training, at the very little top peak of the pyramid, we have our supplements, okay? So a lot of people think that training and supplements are the most important thing, and they focus on this top part of the pyramid, when the truth is there's absolutely no point in focusing on your training and your supplements if you haven't got the basics in place, if you haven't got your rest, your recovery, your nutrition, and your general movement sorted, then the others aren't going to make that much of a difference, okay? So just to keep that in mind as we discuss further in the podcast. Okay, so the reason that your rest and recovery is as important as I'm saying it is because without adequate rest, your muscles can't repair, grow, or strengthen. So therefore, you're actually leaving yourself at a much higher risk of injury, okay? You won't be able to give your workouts 100%. If you're not rested well, you won't actually benefit as much from your training because you won't actually be able to, when you're in the gym, give your workout 100%. So brain fog and mental fatigue, which comes with not getting enough sleep, for example, and stress, okay, is going to just leave you with a negative mindset, and everything's just going to feel that little bit harder when it doesn't actually have to, okay? And when you're exhausted or burnt out, the obvious thing here, you're going to crave sugary processed foods, and healthy food choices are not actually going to seem as important. So definitely something to keep in mind. So when I say recovery, what is it that I actually mean? Okay, I've broken it down into 5 categories, and I'll go through them all now. Okay, so number 1, rest days. Okay, so rest days, first of all, let me be clear, don't mean duvet days. Rest days are rest days from your training. Okay, so depending on what type of training you're doing, if you're strength training in the gym, then your rest days are the days where you're not strength training in the gym. If you're training for a marathon or you're training for a mini marathon, your rest days are your days where you take a break from running. Okay, so obviously it depends on the context. Okay, but it doesn't mean a duvet day. So a rest day doesn't mean, oh, I can't move around at all, I'm resting. So it's the concept of active recovery. Okay, so I would recommend that you train 3 to 4 days a week. So any of my clients, I would have them strength training 3 to 4 days a week. And then the other days would be rest days. But you never need to take a rest day from walking. Okay, and I know some of my clients hate hearing this and they feel victimized when I say this, but you don't need a rest day from walking. Walk every day. So a day where you're not in the gym, you're not training, but you go for a walk is a rest day. So obviously, unless you're sick or something or injured, that's different. Okay, so that's number 1, rest days. They need to be scheduled in. Number 2 is sleep. Okay, sleep should actually be number 1 really, but I have it listed here as number 2, so we'll go with it. So ideally, an adult should be getting between 7 to 9 hours sleep each night. Now, I know some people, particularly people who don't have kids, have no problem hitting those numbers. But I know that it's a real struggle for a lot of people, a lot of clients that I work with, particularly anyone who have small kids at home. So I know that sleep is not something that you have full control of at the minute. So I don't want you to focus on it and get stressed about it either, but just to manage as much as you can with your sleep. So like, you can set up a good sleep routine, give yourself a bedtime that you, once your kids are asleep and you've all your bits done, you've had your little unwind time, that you set a bedtime, regardless of what time anyone's going to wake at in the middle of the night or in the morning, that try and get as close as you can to that same time every night. So reduce distractions at bedtime. So don't be on your phone in your bedroom. So avoid screens if you can in your bedroom. Fair enough downstairs or whatever, but then when you go up to bed, read a book before you go to sleep to help you feel tired, and try a little meditation before you go to sleep. You can get little guided ones online, and just try and unwind and go to sleep, because the actual light of your phone tricks your body into thinking it's not tired, or into thinking that it's actually still daytime, and you'll find it harder to get to sleep. So minimizing these things that are in your control, optimizing these things that are in your control so that you can minimize the stress around sleep is so important. So then obviously if you've got babies or toddlers or even small kids that aren't sleeping, that's out of your control. There's no point in getting stressed in thinking, oh, I wish they'd sleep. Obviously you wish they'd sleep. But at the minute, if that's your reality, then we just have to work with it. So if you're in a position to nap when your baby or toddler naps during the day, get those naps in if you can, because it all counts. It doesn't have to be sleep in a row. You know, we can clock it up a little bit. And then obviously if you've got other kids and that's not an option, or you're working and that's not an option, then see if you can bank a bit of sleep at the weekend. And I know us Irish mothers, we're just such martyrs when it comes to this. It's like we can't lie in on a Sunday morning because we can hear the husband and the kids downstairs and we're like, oh no, like, oh, what's he feeding them? Oh, no, don't do that. Like, you know, let go of the control. Let him off to look after them, or whoever's looking after your kids, and have a little switch off time and try and get some sleep. Bank it, because you need it for the week ahead, okay? So that would be my advice on sleep when it's not within your control. If it's within your control, get those good, healthy sleep habits in place and start aiming for 7 hours, and you can build from there. Okay, so number 3, hydration. So I like to categorize hydration in the recovery category, because I think it's a great way to cleanse your body and help you feel refreshed, which is kind of what the likes of sleep and rest do also. So you're aiming here for 2 litres of water a day. I know a lot of people struggle with that, but there's lots of little ways around this. So for example, if I'm at home for the day, I will always try and have a pint glass of water on the counter. So I make a conscious effort when I get up in the morning, before I have my breakfast, what I'll do is drink a pint of water before I eat anything else. And I just find that it cleanses me in the morning. Any dehydration that I might be suffering from is gone, and I've started the day right before I have any food. And it really, really works. Plus then I've just got 500 mils of my 2 litres into me, which is great. So that's one thing I do. And then I just try and refill as the day goes on. Don't try and drink 2 litres of water all at one go, because it's really not good for your body. Your body needs time to actually absorb it. So, you know, a pint at a time is fine. But again, you know, don't be knocking it back. Just, you know, drink it at a normal pace. And it's a habit that actually builds. When it comes to, if you're out and about, just carrying a water bottle with you, if you want to carry a big 2 litre and be like, that's what I drink throughout the day, and when it's gone, great. Or else if you've got the smaller bottles, they need to be filled twice or 4 times, depending on the size, throughout the day. But just to try and aim for that, because realistically, if the weather's hot, if you're training, depending on what your training is, you actually probably need more than 2 litres. but let's aim for the 2 litres and just get as close as you can. Now I've had this issue with some clients, if you absolutely hate water, that you've tried to put these habits in place and you just cannot do it for whatever reason. And I have come across people who are like that. What I would suggest is I would prefer you to drink 2 litres of water with a little bit of my wadi in it than not drink 2 litres of water at all. But the thing is, it's definitely better to get the water into, and it is a habit. It's just better for actually cleansing the system rather than, obviously you're only putting a tiny bit of my wadi in, but it's putting something else into your system with it. So, but definitely I prefer that than no liquids at all. And believe me, tea and coffee definitely don't count, because the caffeine is going to dehydrate you, and alcohol as well is going to dehydrate you. So something to think about, particularly if you were drinking the night before, you might need an extra bit of water then that day. Or if you're drinking that night, try to get some water in throughout the night as you're drinking, not to be like a buzzkill, but it will make a huge difference the following day. So that is hydration, and I think it's all I have to say on that. My little notes here as usual. Okay, number 4, muscle recovery. Okay, so muscle recovery is particularly important if you're strength training, because the problem is that the stronger you get, the less mobile you're going to get. So I was taught by someone very smart recently to think about, strength and mobility as a seesaw. So as your strength increases, your mobility starts to get worse unless you actively work on it. Okay. So this is why stretching after your workouts is so important. It doesn't have to be fancy stretches, the usual ones that you would have learned in PE, stretching out your quads, your hamstrings, your arms, your shoulders, the usual ones. Or doing a more yoga style stretch is also fantastic. But just getting into a habit of spending 5 minutes at least at the end of every workout getting a good stretch. You don't need to stretch before your workouts. Your warm-ups should be more dynamic movement, getting the body moving, getting the joints and the muscles warm rather than stretching them out. The stretching is better after the workout, once you're warm after the workout. So basically, afterwards, yes. So other forms of muscle recovery, so massage. So anyone who has been thinking of treating themselves or couldn't even dream of treating themselves to a massage, it's not only just fantastic for your mind and relaxation, it's actually so good for your muscles, for your circulation, everything. So it's definitely something to think about scheduling in once a month, once every couple of months, if you're in a position to do so. You don't even need to go for you can get a full-on sports massage if you want and get really deep tissue and get all those knots out. But even going for a relaxing massage with a little bit of pressure is going to make a huge difference to not doing it at all, really. So other option then, another thing that you can do for muscle recovery is Epsom salts baths. So I love this. So again, for the mind and for the body. So getting into the bath, so I literally say to Dave, I'm going upstairs, I'm getting into the bath, I am locking the door, I'm putting on a podcast, do not let the kids come near me. Now usually someone ends up knocking on the door, or we have one of those, those locks in our locks on our doors where you can actually twist them from the outside. It's like a little kind of nut on the outside that you can kind of twist. So what Kai does is if he wants to get into me, he twists it from the outside and I can just see the lock turning and then suddenly he's in with me. But I do try and get there on my own and, light a candle and put some Epsom salts in the bath, put on a nice podcast. I like to listen to the Oprah podcast or something like that when I'm in the bath because, it's all about spirituality and relaxation and, self-worth and well-being, and it's lovely with a nice Epsom salt bath. And you can even take a little glass of wine to the bath with you as well if you want, and just relax. And you get Epsom salts anywhere, but I love the Epsom salts, and they have matching candles from the Creative Collection by Creative Hands, which is a local business, a local small business from Greystones, but you can actually check them out online. So creativecollection.ie, I think, but if you go to the Creative Hands website, creativehands.ie, there's a link to it there, but they have these gorgeous Epsom salts that smell absolutely divine. They've like different flavors. Flavors, not the right word. Scent, you know, like lavender, like lemongrass and ginger. There's loads of different kind of lime is another one, I think. Oh, so many lovely ones. I love the lemongrass and ginger. So like put that into the bath and like just smells so good, and just it actually smells like relaxation. And I put it with the candle and it's absolutely divine. But it actually, the Epsom salts really do get in at the muscles and help with recovery as well. So in that sense, good for the mind, good for the body. Foam rolling. So some of you are probably like, what the fuck is foam rolling? If you don't know, you're so lucky because you're about to find out. Google it, okay? So foam rollers are these cylinder things you'll see in the gym. Most gyms usually have them, and what you do is you put them in underneath your muscles and you roll your body on them to roll out any knots in the muscles. So it's kind of like a sports massage, but you're giving it to yourself. It's torturous, and a lot of people do it after workouts instead of stretching because it's way, way, way more effective than stretching. So it just gets right in there. So if you feel you're particularly tight, getting on a foam roller and rolling out is a great way to release any tension, any kind of tightness, any poor mobility. Googling it, you'll get loads of ideas there. Foam rollers are really cheap. You can get them in Aldi all the time, and it's something that can be done in front of the TV or can be done after a workout. I love the app GoWOD, so GOWOD, GOWOD. And like there's a free version and there's like a pay version, but even if you pay it, I don't think it's that much per month. But it gives you, basically you can test your mobility, and it tells you where you're tight and where you need to work on, and gives you like a mobility routine that you can do, and it will give you foam rolling activities, it'll give you stretching activities. But if you don't go with the paid version, you can actually just pick the body part that you want to stretch or roll out, and it will give you the different activities, and it has a little timer and stuff. So it's a fantastic way to kind of get your stretch and your rolling on without having to give it too much thought. So definitely one to check out there. Foam rolling. Oh yeah, so heat. Sorry, excuse me. Heat is another great way to get at muscles, particularly if they're sore. So another excuse for a spa day. Maybe you'll tie it in with your massage, but getting into a sauna or a steam room is a fantastic way to just get the muscles warm, and then afterwards doing a lovely stretch when you get out, because the muscles are warm, and it'll just be easier to loosen things up. Again, another one that's really good for your head. You see how this is all tying in as well as physical recovery. We're talking mental recovery also at the same time. So that is heat. Okay, stretching we've talked about, and last one, cold water therapy. So cold water is another fantastic way to do it. Now, I know as I'm recording this, it's August, so it's still a nice time to get into the sea. But I know when we're heading into the winter, that might be a deal breaker for some people. But if you're into sea dipping, or you're open to sea dipping, you don't even have to swim, just getting in for a dip, or if you're near a lake that's safe to dip in, that it is a fantastic way, particularly after a workout. I can think of like numerous times where we've done pretty hard workouts, a group of us, and then we all head down and just hop straight into the sea while you're still roasting hot, and it's just the most amazing recovery. Like, again, so good for the mind, but really, really good for the muscles also. But obviously, if you're sea dipping, you need to make sure it's safe. Don't go in if it's rough. Don't go in if you're not sure if it's safe to swim there. Just if it's obviously don't go in alone if there's no one around you. You need to be safe when it comes to the sea and lakes and rivers and all that. So, but definitely, if it's an option, definitely a fantastic option all around, and it's just amazing. It's actually quite addictive. Like, you'll feel absolutely amazing after it. Okay, and the last one then is number 5. That is mindfulness. So I know it's such a buzzword at the minute, and it's such a cliche, but mindfulness is so important. I actually cannot explain how important it is. But before I get into it, let's just go through what mindfulness means. Well, what it means to me. I'm not an expert on mindfulness. I'm still learning. It's a big part of my life now. I intend to learn more. But the way I implement it in my life and what I recommend for my clients is basically that mindfulness is being in the present moment. Okay, so that means a lot of different things for different people. So mindfulness can actually be a workout, but in this instance, we're not talking about workouts because we're resting and we're recovering. But in general, mindfulness, that being in a workout, one of the reasons why you will feel so good after a workout is because you're fully in the present moment. You can't think about anything else except what you're doing, particularly if it's a tough workout. And that's why one of the reasons why you feel so good afterwards. So it's that concept, but we're going to take the workout part out of it and talk about other options for being mindful also. So, as I said, mindfulness is being in the present moment. Okay, it's getting out of your thoughts, that chattering mind that's constantly, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, oh, why did I do this, oh, when did that happen, oh, like I wish things had gone this way, I wish I was this, I wish I was that, I can't wait for this, I can't wait for that. If you actually stop for a minute and just observe your mind, it's actually scary how much chattering that goes on without your control. And what mindfulness is first of all, just becoming aware of these thoughts. Some people probably have never stopped and really thought about it, but being aware of these constant thoughts and learning to let them go. Now, that's a lot easier said than done. So there's lots of different strategies that people use to do that. And the reason why we want to let go of those thoughts for a little while, and it's not forever, but we let go of these thoughts for a little while to give our mind that rest and recovery that it needs. It's also going to tie in and help us sleep better, which is going to help with our physical recovery. So it is one of the most important factors in living a healthy lifestyle. But you do not have to be sitting through or going through a yoga class or a long meditation or anything like that to actually experience mindfulness, although they are fantastic ways of being mindful. It's not the only option, especially if you're a beginner. It's not the way to go. It might not be the way to go for you, but it is a case of making conscious effort to be in the present moment. So ways that you can do this is going for a walk. Okay, is one way. A mindful walk is fantastic. When I am doing a mindful walk, anytime I go for a walk, if I manage to get on my own, which is rare, it will always be a mindful walk. If I was running, I'd have headphones on, have high energy music on so that I could get a good run in. But when I'm walking, I don't wear headphones, because what happens is when you've got headphones on is you go into your thoughts, you go into your memories, you go into whatever the music reminds you of, or, it calms you, and then suddenly you start thinking of something else. Go for a walk without the headphones on and use your 5 senses. What can you see? What can you hear? What can you touch? What can you smell? Maybe what can you taste? But, if you're having an ice cream along the way, or, whatever, maybe if you're down by the sea, you can actually taste the salt on your lips. Who knows? But actually using your 5 senses to bring yourself into the present moment. Now, your mind will run ahead of itself, and you will start thinking things. So it's not about beating yourself up and be like, oh, I failed. Oh, I'm thinking. I'm like, obviously you're going to be thinking, you're human. But it's been like, okay, mind's racing again, bringing it back. Oh, look at those leaves. They feel nice. And like I'm sometimes walking down Sea Road in Kilcool, I look like a crazy person. But it actually really, really centres me, and it really, really anchors me. And I walk down, I sit down at the sea, and I sit down on the stones, and I will often go put my feet into the sea so that I can feel the cold water on my feet. I wouldn't swim down there. I would be nervous swimming down there by myself. That's not particularly safe, in my opinion. But so I don't swim there by myself or anything. But I do like to paddle my feet if it's not rough, and just breathing in the fresh air, and it's funny when I sit on that beach, and it would literally just be 5 minutes, and suddenly I notice things that I've never noticed before, like the patterns in the sky, or the birds flying by, or just all this kind of nature that's going on around us, that we're too busy in our own little chattering minds that we actually never notice, which is kind of scary. So a simple walk, like if you're not someone who can sit still, go for a walk and just start taking in your surroundings. Or, the weekends, going on hikes, just getting out in nature. Nature is just a fantastic way to centre you, put everything in perspective, and get you into the present moment a little bit. Another thing then you can do is as we talked about, sea dips. See, another reason why sea dip is great, because it is a form of mindfulness. You're getting into that cold water. You're not going to be thinking about anything else except breathing through that cold water. And when you do get in, and the sense of achievement, and you're so focused on what you're doing, and you feel absolutely fantastic afterwards, because you've been 100% in the present moment the whole time. So you feel like a child again. Because think about children when they're running and they're playing and they're so free. Think about a child on their summer holidays out playing with their friends on the green, and they're so uninhibited. They're so free because they haven't a care in the world. They're literally in the present moment, being their true selves. And as adults, we've lost it. We've lost it altogether. And it's just so important to start making little windows in our week, or even in every day if we can, to get a little bit of that back, so we can bring ourselves back to our true selves. It's just so important for our mental health, and then our sleep, and then our physical health. Listening to music can be, well, you know, while you're doing jobs, can be a great way to kind of center you. But again, music can be a way, personally, I can find music as a way to bring me into my thoughts and my daydreams rather than in the present moment. And just, you know, generally being alone, like especially if you're a mum in a busy house, you might not get that many chances to be alone. So being alone and actually just fully just enjoying the moment of being alone, and not getting caught up in thoughts and worries and stresses and stuff like that, and use it well. And then obviously meditation. Like meditation is a huge, meditation is just a fantastic practice to get into your everyday life. And it doesn't have to be airy-fairy. Like it's so simple. Meditation is literally mindfulness, but like deliberate mindfulness, if you know what I mean. So meditation, if you're interested in starting doing a little bit of meditation, I would highly recommend the Headspace app. Okay, so there's another app called Calm as well. I don't personally use it, not for any reason. I've heard it's really good, but just I have used the Headspace app. Now, it is kind of a monthly subscription, but I think they might give you like a couple of weeks free to try it out. And the meditations are anything from 3 minutes to 10 minutes. So you can literally start with it, and it just teaches you to focus on your breath, breathing in and breathing out. Taking 3 minutes, you could do it first thing in the morning to calm yourself, or last thing at night, or whenever suits you best. And it guides you through it and teaches you that little bit of switch off time, which is fantastic. Another great tool is, I love the Brave Way meditation course by Sinead Hegarty. So if you check Sinead Hegarty out if you Google her, I'm sure she has a website, but on Instagram or whatever, she has a 21 day or 28 day, I'm not sure, 21 day meditation course called the Brave Way. But they're fabulous guided meditations, but they also kind of do this kind of connect with yourself work, you know, and like you connect with your inner child, and you know, practice gratitude in one of them, and all that, like, you know, or goal setting, all that, like manifesting your dreams, all this kind of stuff. But it's in a really, really nice, non-annoying way, if that makes sense. I bought it now. I think it might be 39 euro or something like that, but you have it forever. And I think I'm on my third round of it now, and I like to do them before I go to sleep. They're lovely. So that's definitely another one that I'd recommend. But even if you don't want to pay for any type of meditation app, you can get loads on YouTube, guided meditations. I can't recommend, like, I don't know what you're going to get with that, but there's definitely loads out there, and just to play around with it a little bit. But even just lying down, you don't even need to be lying down. If you're sitting in traffic and you're stuck in traffic and you're in the car by yourself, practice some mindfulness there, practice some meditation there. Breathe in for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds, concentrate on your breath, breathing in and breathing out, doing 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, looking around you, seeing what's around you, just bringing yourself into that present moment. And I promise you'll never be bored again, because if you're sitting in a waiting room or anything like that, use it as a time to do a little meditation. Just all you need to do is focus on your breath, and that is the meditation. But it's taking you out of your thoughts without you even realizing, because you're so busy focusing on the counting in and the counting out. This stuff gets easier the more you practice it. It's not something that's going to be particularly easy, especially if you're a very busy-minded person, but it's definitely something to just take the first step with, and it makes a huge difference. in the long term, definitely. Like, it's basically changed my life. I kind of never really even gave any self-reflection until recent years, until I started actually connecting with myself a little bit. I was just been chasing myself for years without even realising it, and just thought that was normal. So highly, highly recommend it. And sometimes mindfulness is actually just spending time with loved ones, being present, not being on your phone, and actually sitting down, having a glass of wine, having a conversation, having a cup of tea, whatever it is, with someone you love, and really listening to them and really connecting with them is a fantastic form of mindfulness also. It's really, really, really good for the soul. So, yeah, that's basically, though, they're the 5 main pillars of rest and recovery that are so important. And until you get those in place, nothing else is going to fit right. And it's going to make working towards your goals just that little bit harder. And I know, as Irish mums, a lot of us, we have this guilt where, like, oh, we're being selfish if we're taking care of ourselves. But taking care of yourself is not selfish. Like, it's the opposite of selfish. It is vital. We cannot look after other people if we're literally dragging ourselves around, okay? So when you're taking time for self-care, for rest, for recovery, you are actually looking after your family and your loved ones as well as yourself, because you can't give from an empty cup, basically. Not to sound cliche, but it's true. So please start prioritizing yourselves. Make sure you're getting that switch off time, because you're not made of steel. Batteries will run out, so you need to recharge. Yeah, so I think that's kind of all I have to say on that topic. If you would like to start your own journey of self-care, my nutrition and lifestyle program, Nourish, Move and Shine, I take people on every 6 weeks. So the next intake is the 29th of August, so that's Monday week. And I will be capping the numbers for because I want to give people the best service and attention. So the numbers will be capped, but there are some spaces left. So if you would like to sign up to Nourish, Move and Shine starting on the 29th of August, you can contact me by email, katehamiltonhealth@gmail.com, or you can connect with me on Instagram, on TikTok, or on Facebook at Kate Hamilton Health. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you got some value in that. And as always, if you liked it, please do share it with your friends, your loved ones, share it on your stories, and tag me. And I will talk to you all next week. Thank you so much.